Hello there, how you going? We're off on another adventure. Today I'm starting my very first ever multi-day walk. It's a bit rainy out there, that's why I'm going to stop and enjoy my last hot cup of coffee for the next 3 days. Jane made me that this morning. What a nice touch. So we're going to walk through the Gibraltar Washpool World Heritage Walk today and tomorrow and the next day. 45 kilometres, we're going to see rainforest, we're going to see dry forest, we're going to see some inspiring views if the clouds part long enough to let us see them, and you're going to see how a middle-aged overweight bloke goes on a multi-day walk. You want to come for the adventure? Let's go. So we've got our first little creek crossing here. This is Badger Creek, which we're going to be returning to again on the last day. A little bit further downstream. There it is, a nice little rainforest creek. This would be a good water source if I needed it, but I'm full of water. So it is a bit rainy today, and forecast to be rainy today and tomorrow. So we just got to see how that works out, but I've got my wet gear on. I'm also sweating up a storm already. This morning's walk is all uphill, so we're just going to have to cope with that. I've got to pace myself, not go too fast. I've got 2 walking sticks, which I'm hoping are going to help me. It's going to be wet, so there'll be some slippery sections, and I've got to be a bit careful with that. Anyway, I've got a 15 kilo pack. I've got 3.5 litres of water, enough food to feed a small army, plus all my regular gear. So we'll see how we go. I tell you what, I'm excited for this. I've been looking forward to it for a long, long time. Even though it's raining, it's still beautiful in the rainforest, eh? There's actually a total fire ban yesterday. It's been so hot, dry and windy. What that means is, I started this walk when I left home early this morning. The conditions were still total fire ban. It hasn't been lifted. It may well have been lifted by now, but so I've planned my walk in such a way that I won't need to have any kind of fire or flame. The little stove that I normally carry is a liquid fuel stove, and those are banned in total fire bans. So while it's probably not a total fire ban now, it was when I left home, and I needed to plan as though it was going to be. So I'm actually walking through multiple days of rain with no real chance of a fire. The winds have died down, but there'll be no cooked food for me, no hot drinks. Should be a good trip. Look at these gorgeous yellow flowers. Heaps of fascinating things along the way here. It's a really good walk. Just keep seeing cool little things off in the bush here. We've moved out of the rainforest into some of the drier forest. We've still got about 4 kilometres to go of uphill. So we'll see how I feel after that. So I've made it to the turn-off. We're leaving the Muggum Fire Trail, which is behind me, and we are turning down now to the Northwest Fire Trail, which is this way. Let's go. Look at those cool little things in the bush. I don't know what that plant is. If you know, please let me know. I'm fascinated by these things. I am trying to learn, but there's just so much. I stopped a little while ago and had my first break, had something to eat, and now I'm feeling pretty good. I'm cold, I'm wet, but I'm also hot at the same time. Weird, isn't it? Anyway, we just keep moving. Now I told myself I wasn't going to walk off track too much, and I intend to keep that promise, but I thought it would be worth bringing you over here just to show you a few of this amazing little wildflowers we've got going on. Some of these are late, some of these are early, some of them are right on time. And there is the Gibraltar range Waratah. Actually, these ones look like they're coming off a little bit. They might be a little bit older, but what a gorgeous plant this is. It's actually a really good display of these this year. So O'Hara was an early grazier, and in 1873, when he was, look at the bloody camera, Justin. O'Hara was one of the early graziers around here, and in 1873 he pushed through this area looking for an easy route across these mountains to be able to take cattle. So in 1873 there was no rail in this area. Roads were pretty basic. A lot of the settlements were only just really starting out, and the main access to any larger markets was via the sea, and the nearest access to the sea was from the river ports down around Grafton, down near the sea. So O'Hara was one of the pioneers that helped open this up. So this rock up here, that's O'Hara's rock. That's where he camped, and a little bit further up, the highest point of our walk for today is O'Hara's Gap. I'll show you that when we get to there too. There's a little bit of history for you, hey? I know I can't stop and take pictures of all of these, but I'm surrounded by Waratahs. Some of these are really tall, like this one here. At full stretch, I cannot get my walking sticks as high as them. That would be over 4 meters. It's massive. They're everywhere through here. It's a really good year for them. A lot of people wouldn't come on this walk to look for them, but look at that gorgeous display. I never get sick of looking at that. It's been worth coming on this walk just for that. It's gorgeous. What a beautiful, beautiful walk. What a beautiful day, eh? It's getting very steep now. It's also getting quite slippery. I'm not going to film myself walking up these hills. It's a bit too slippery. Walking them once is bad enough without walking them twice. I don't know if the camera angle picks up just how steep this is, but the worst is not behind me yet. We've got probably another 100 meters to climb like this, and it's pretty sharp all the way up. So I've just got to be careful. Last thing I want to do is slip and fall down and damage a knee. I'm a long way from anywhere. I've got a personal locator beacon on me, but I don't want to use it. I want to finish the walk under my own steam. So slow and steady and careful as I huff and puff my way up these hills, hey? So, we've made it to the top. That's where I came from, and that's where I'm going. Everything else after this is either downhill or relatively flat with some undulations. So, while I still will be walking up and down a bit, there'll be no more really steep climbs like the one I just had, except for the steep descent that I now have to make. Let's go. Look at that funny little mushroom. Like it's grown upside down. Oh look, more waratahs. What a gorgeous spot this really is. These bony ridges, hardly any soil, yet they are so vibrant, so rich with life. It's amazing. Didn't expect to see these yet. There's a few real early Christmas bells out. In another month to 2 months, all of these high altitude heath areas will be covered in Christmas bells. There'll be hundreds of them. That's a gorgeous little find along the way. I keep telling you, I'm not going to go off track today. Anyway. In fact, look at this little cluster up here. There's like 14 of them here. They're gorgeous. Beautiful little Christmas bells. So the walking's a lot easier now as we head along this track. Still a few steeper hill sections here and there, but they're only short. For the most part, it's reasonably level, and that's a lot easier. So each day for my walk, I've tried to plan it in a way that allows me to have the harder part first and the easier part second. I am getting tired. Still got a while to go yet, but oh, look at those. Right there on the edge of the track. You're probably getting sick of looking at them. I'm sorry if you are. I'm not. Anyway, it's a glorious day. Now the haystack. I think it's that hill right there. Now theoretically you can climb that. I think it's something like 1100 metres high. There's no path or track, you just have to climb it yourself. There's no way I'm going to try it in the wet by myself, no way. But even if I did climb it today and got up the hill, I'm not going to see anything but clouds anyway. So we'll save that for another day, eh? The hill was the worst one yet. I was slipping almost all the way. Those are my footprints there. Without these poles, I don't think I would have got up that hill. Anyway, we're nearly at the top of it now, so I'm glad about that. And there's the haystack just there. So if you're going to climb it, you start from up here, not from down there. Oh, look at them ones. The birds were out, I bet they'd be getting stuck into them. So, we started there, we walked through to there. There was O'Hara's Rock, O'Hara's Gap, and that's where we stopped for lunch, Grassy Creek Campground. We've now walked past the haystack and onto here where the Bicentennial Trail joins on. If you don't know what the Bicentennial Trail is, that's actually a 5,000 kilometre trail. It starts in Victoria and goes through to northern Queensland and follows the Great Dividing Range. We're working on down now to Boundary Falls. There's 5 kilometres left to go. On the way down, there's an opportunity to stop in and see a little waterfall. So I'll see how I'm feeling when I get there. So I just walked through Duffer Creek. If we go through the turn off up here, just up the road a little bit further, it'll take us down to Duffer Falls. What do you reckon? Have I still got enough energy to walk down that hill and back up it. We're getting pretty close to the falls now. Tell you what, it feels very good to have that backpack off me back for a bit. I actually looked at the time and it's just after 2 o'clock. There's 3 k's left to go once I finish mucking around with this waterfall. So I've actually been tracking along pretty well. There's no rush for me to get to the campground because there's nothing to do there except sit there and watch the rain fall down anyway. So we might as well take our time and enjoy a few of these things. And I know why I'm feeling a bit buggered. I haven't been stopping and having rests. I haven't been eating. So that's my bad. I need to rest more. I need to eat a bit more. And this walk is going to go a lot better for me if I do. On a clear day you get a beautiful view up the valley from here. We're right on the edge of the cliff. I want to be very careful here because absolutely do not want to fall down there. It'll be a good 10 metres and I'm not willing to risk it just for a nice shot. So that's as close as I'm going to the cliff. There's these beautiful little cascades. I think all up there's about 5 cascades. It doesn't have a lot of water in it today because it hasn't been raining for quite a long time. There's the view up the valley. You can normally see for quite a long way. I'm not sure what the phone's picking up, but hopefully you can see at least something. Then there's these beautiful rock pools here and the falls continue on back up there. Let's go and check some of those out so I can get away from this cliff. In the wet and the slippery. What a hot day, what a beautiful spot this would be to swim and to cool down. Not a hot day today though. What do you think? Was this worth walking 700 metres downhill with the 700 metre return up the hill? For me the answer is yes. But what about you? Would you do it? Scattered around the bush here, the little relics and remnants of the old bush sawmill. Back in the days, there were some mighty big timbers. They cut them all down, they're all long gone. But in its heyday, the bush would have rang the sound of saws and axes, machinery, originally driven by steam and then later by petrol motors. It's been raining lightly all day. Now I'm in camp, it's chucking it down. I got the tent up. As soon as I started, this heavy rain came. It was too late to stop and go back. So the tent's up, there's a fair bit of water inside. I don't know, I'm not going to even try and put the bedding in there yet because there's no way for me to set everything up without making everything soggy. I need the bed to be dry or else I'm going to be too cold and there's going to be a real risk. It's a gorgeous spot and I was having a really good time up until now, but now I'm really starting to question my decision to come here for this trip. It's a bit concerning. Anyway, I'm in my dry-ish clothes. They're half wet again. They're all wool, so hopefully they at least retain some heat. I don't know how I'm going to go tonight. I'm a bit worried, but we've come this far. and there's no easy way up. So I will at least try and get through the night, and then if tomorrow's going to be rainy again, I'm pretty well certain I will turn myself back around and walk back to the car tomorrow. So set wrap up update. I'm bailing. I asked one of my extremely kind neighbours to give me a lift back to my car, and they did that. Why am I bailing? It's because all my bedding was wet in the tent. I was getting wet in the tent. The tent was a complete failure. The tent is no good for this type of trip in the wet. It's a good weather tent only. I found that out the hard way. Anyway, the positive is I had a kind neighbour. I didn't have to spend the night laying shivering in a cold wet tent and then turn around and walk back 18 kilometres tomorrow in the rain in wet clothes. So I'm going to go home, have a hot shower and sleep in my own bed tonight. And there's lessons to be learned from today, and I'll have a good long hard think about things before I do this again. But I will be back and I will do it again, that's for sure. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. It's been a bit of a roller coaster for me, but I'm not going to take this as a negative. We're going to still move forward from this point. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye bye.